Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Thanks for tuning in. As the title said, this one's slightly different. What I've noticed with a lot of people, they don't actually talk about if they relate their layout to themselves. A lot of people do it to other places, certain times, that sort of thing. My layout is a fictitious one, as you know. But what I try to do, my layout is based on sort of the early 60s through to about 1980, which was my sort of when I was born, and then up, my teenage years, right up to about 1980. So I tried to sort of base it on a period of that sort of area. Um, what this video is going to be about is, I'll try to be brief, is a history and why associated vehicles were on my layout. So what we're going to talk about, I'll just turn and show them out because I'm going to mount you on the thing so hopefully it come out, and then I'll try and hold the cars at the screen so you can do some. Because but they're all, most of them have got a meaning. Some haven't so much, but there's some I've actually bought purely for the meanings of them, and we'll go into detail in a second. So right, we'll put you down, then I'll try and make a start from the beginning if you like. Okay, I don't know if that should be alright. Probably better see them. Okay, now. You might have already seen this before. This is the old Bedford CA van, or a lot of people used to call them dormobiles. Now, my late father, I was brought up with these vans. I remember when I was a kid, sitting on like a vegetable box in the back of a van, one of these, similar to this, a panel van version, and it was all shaking about and all that. But I can remember it vividly. I must have only been about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, something like that. And then as we grew up, he then went out and got a dormobile. That's all the Romany camper vans, like with the louver roof, that sort of thing. And we had some great times. Remember sleeping in the top with my sister. There was like 2 beds either side of like the louver top roof. And yeah, we had some great times. And that was another old CA van. Wouldn't know the year, but obviously 60s, early 60s type van. And then the latter part, he had another one, which he used to tow for the banger racing, which we'll go into shortly. Yeah, and what we had this van, and it was weird. It had some sort of different gearbox because these old things were column gearbox. Now my dad always remember him trying to get reverse, hitting the hands against the windscreen, struggling and things like that. But this one had a different gearbox, had floor change, but it was at the rear of his driver's seat. So you can imagine the fun I had when I was laughing with him trying to drive this thing because it'd been Heath Robinson done. But it was a good memory to have. But so as I say, so that's why I've got this van on the site. Is because I relate it to my dad. And obviously, like I say, he had 3 of these. So we'll move, right, that's the van. So we'll move on to the next one. Now, my dad was a plumber. Now, this hasn't got a plumber's livery on it. And I remember him working for quite a few different companies. We all know this is a little Morris Minor van. Now, my dad, I always remember him vaguely. Bits, it was battered and tatty. These are all like nice and mint, aren't they? But this old van was an old van, tatty. But again, I remember him, and it had a plumber's name all written on it. So I've got relations related to that. Again, it's period, same as the dormobile. Fits my era for my layout. But yeah, that's the Morris Minor 1000 van, guys. Right, put that there. Then comes to something that touches me, associates me and my dad, my childhood. Quite a few friends of mine will relate to these. These were this particular car is called Gnostic Cambridge. Of the 3 in a series, there was Morris Oxfords, Wolseleys, Rileys, MGs, all sort of badge, but similar, but basically the similar car really, different interiors, etc., and exterior parts. Now I've raced quite a few of these, and my dad basically grew up with them really in the banger racing. We did banger racing for quite a few years, and everybody raced these sort of cars. As I say, they were called the Farinas, and this is an A60. And I think I must have smashed like 10, 12 of these in my banger racing period. Austin Cambridges, that is. I had Morris Oxfords, Wolseleys. My first road car was a Riley one of these. So it's got its own poignant theme. And a small factor, my late mum, who'd passed away in 95, yeah, we used to have the bangers sitting on a trailer. And basically this particular banger was sitting like that. It was on the trailer, and all the front here was all crumpled up, and it looked like it had a sad face. And what was funny and poignant to this day really with my children, yeah, my mum looked at it and went, "Ah, look at poor old Ben there," because it looked all sad, and the name Ben stuck. So every A60 that we had for quite a few years in period, even my road car was called Ben. And then I was with my wife I'm with now. I had a Wolseley, and that was called Ben, which I used to take to car shows. So it's got a lot of significance just in the nature of the vehicle. So now you know why the A60 Austin Cambridge Farina type is on my layout. Right, we move on, guys. Right, when I used to go to school, on buses. You've probably seen the buses that I've got on my layout. I'll pick one of them up. We've got two of them here. Now, I used to go to school on these, and we'd have great fun. They were lovely. They were brilliant. We used to sit on the back, hang on the back of here, put Blakey's in the back of your shoes. Those of my age group would know what I'm on about. And then at night, you'd sort of hang off this back handle here and make all the sparks, much to the conductor's dislike. But that was all part of the fun when you were kids. So, and then the reason I've got two buses, because what used to happen a lot, and most can relate to that, London Transport as was, you'd wait for ages and ages for a bus to come along, and then three of these would come along all at once. So you take your pick what you want to get on. But yeah, so that's the reason I've got Routemaster buses, because I used to go to school on them. So that's the reason, look, guys. So we've got that. I'll do a brief description of the other vehicles, and then I'll come to the final one in a second. This has got no significance, but I like it because it's a little Bedford Beagle van. I remember them going about a lot. You know, they're good little vans. Again, early sort of late 60s into the 70s, little vans. Great little vans. That's that one. You obviously know. This one you guys probably know, or if you don't know, it's the old Mark II. I think it looks like a Zephyr. I'd say it's a Mark II Zephyr rather than the Zodiac. I might be wrong. But I like the scheme. I saw it, and it came with a group of this other car that I've got. But yeah, it fits the period again. So yeah, that's the Ford Zephyr Mark II, guys. Okay. This one you've probably seen next to the station or outside the pub quite a lot. I think it's a Vauxhall Velux Victor. Probably quite early. Probably about 1958, 1960 period, something like that. But they were running around. I remember them as a kid running around. They raced them as bangers and that when I was racing. But yeah, I thought I'd just, that come with the couple of others there. So yeah, it's just good to have on the layout because it's purely a taxi and it's period, guys. And you've obviously seen this on the back of trailer. It's the old Mark I Transit. Yeah, great vans. Good friend of my dad's and myself. He had one of these, all suited with different wheels and what they used to do back in the day. If he's watching this video at some stage, you remember what I'm on about. His one was all primer. This is just a grey colour. But yeah, basically this is just your full Transit, guys. Mark I Transit. We would have had either a V4 2 litre in it or V4 1700, I think, if I remember rightly. Petrol engines, didn't have diesels in these, not for a long while, but they were the basic ones. But yeah, that's the full Transit. Now the sad vehicles, I've got a green one of these as well. Might not be period for the video, but yeah, it's a Humvee, and it's these came with that collection that, like I said to you, my shunter, diesel shunter 08, started all this blooming hobby and got me going into this madness. Yeah, so they're out there for that reason, just to be on show really, where I can use them. Maybe not quite period, but yeah, you all know them as the Humvees. Got two of those. Right, now comes to the last vehicle, guys. What we can all see that, can't we? Right, it's a little Ford Fiesta Mark I. Quite a cute little car, really, this one. This is a Mark I. Sort of went up to about VW Reg, something like that, into X, I think, about that. But I'm trying to keep it in period, that's the only thing. Now, the vehicle in question, though, is a Mark II Fiesta XR2, which I had. Now, it was one of these little vehicles. I was sort of helping my mum out one particular day, and this is where I was in my little car, and I met, I knew my wife, who I'm with now for years anyway, and I was sitting in this when we ended up chatting, and we got back together again. So, and we've been together ever since. So it's quite poignant that a little Fiesta car that I was driving that time with my mum.